First things first, how are you?
Very well. How are you?
I'm alright, thank you. So,
Hungover actually.
hungover?
Yeah.
You fell over last night.
I fell off a scooter last night. You know the Lime scooters?
Sure.
Joe was driving it. And I jumped, I was quite brent that, wasn't it? And I jumped on the back and then we both took a tumble and I dragged him down. So my rib cage is hurting a little bit.
Okay, but no serious injuries?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
No, we'll find out.
Someone robbed his phone and then we got it back off him.
Yeah.
Because where were you yesterday? Brussels, right?
Yeah. We've been in Delirium. You know, the big it's like a big
right.
3-story.
Yeah, they got like 2,000 beers on tap, you know, one of them places.
Do you have a favourite when you go to that kind of place? Or do you just...
Grimbergen last night.
Grimbergen, yeah.
We don't like the ones that are like 12%.
No, it's just daft.
The heavy
really.
ones.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
rocket
fair
fuel.
Yeah.
But aside from that, hopefully everything's okay.
Yeah.
Where I want to start with, after Cool Like You have that whole process, make an album, go tour. Once that tour is over, what is the feeling? What kind of is the mentality when that first day back home?
The first day is usually quite, it's nice to be home and it's nice to chill out, see your family, play FIFA. What do you do?
You'll get home and then obviously you'll sleep in your own bed and then the following morning it'll be nice to be familiar with your surroundings again.
Yeah.
And then it'll get to about tea time and you're like a little bit bored, I better ring the lads
Fancy
or
a beer.
fancy a beer. Yeah, it's mad. It's a crazy experience being on tour and coming back to normality. It's some people take it in different ways, but
as well in terms of like writing, it's never been. I've never left all the writing. I'm always like there's always an overlap. Like I said to you last time, I'd already before we'd even started. Well, before Cool Like You was released, I'd already started writing this record. So it's not like once Cool Like You was written, just sit back, release the record. Then when you get off tour, like sit down and write again. It's never like that. There's always an overlap. So
right.
the first song was My Swimming Brain off this album. I started writing that, at the start of 2018 in like January. So Cool Like You wasn't even out by that point. So it's always good to overlap and keep writing because then you're not creating as much pressure for yourself then going forward.
And right now, I mean, album 4 is already done, from what I can tell.
In the works, yeah.
yeah.
We've recorded one tune and
Okay.
we've demoed, the majority of the album. Maybe we just need to write a couple more, but yeah, it's like, we're very, very far ahead with it in terms of, this album's not even out yet. This one's coming out this week, so.
But is it then that you have this batch of songs and then you might revisit them in a couple of months to see where they're at, or are you kind of really trying to finish them off and then polish them off?
We're getting quite a finished point when we demo them, don't we? It's never like a germ of an idea. It's always like
It's like a skeleton.
yeah.
And then the magic will be sprinkled in the studio and
Right.
fat will be trimmed away and things like that. And then it becomes the finished product.
So that process for this record then, how does that go? Do you have a kind of a sense of where a record is going and that allows you to know where to trim the fat? Or
Later on in the process we
Okay.
did, but I just kept writing and I wrote like 25 songs, which is why we have some left over. Because they didn't really suit the vibe of this album, so I don't know, you don't really. The first song was My Swimming Brain, and that did feel different to Cool Like You, so it was kind of like we knew it was definitely opening a new kind of door, and it was written more, the guitars were more prominent again and stuff like that, so it was kind of, I don't know, that song definitely just sparked a whole new vibe within the band. It was strange because we were going out touring Cool Like You, but we were just listening to this demo we've just made of a song called My Swimming Brain, so we were like, God, we were kind of torn between, playing the new songs and then listening to a new song. It was weird,
But do you throw them in a set every once in a while then, just to see how they go over? Or?
So no, because we never like played it. We demoed it, but in a room, but we hadn't actually, us 5 played it all together. It was kind of like,
right.
I'd show the song, Charlie and Joe would work out the bass and the drums, and then we'd record the bass. Like a demo, like a proper.
Right.
It wasn't like we played it live together. It was like layered up still. So
Right.
we could never play it live.
We've never really done that, have we? Like we've never played a new song before it's been released.
Okay.
Only on the first album.
Well, yeah, only on the
Like
first.
Charlemagne. It's probably the last
Yeah.
one, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But not for years, we've not done that.
Is that kind of you want it to be right before you kind of let other people hear it?
I don't know. It's weird because the bigger you get and the busier you get, you don't really... In the early days, you know, we didn't have we had more time to just go and rehearse and come up with the ideas. So, you know, we'd have like a gig booked in a month, but we'd have like all the rest of the month to like write songs and rehearse. So we'd rehearse the songs and then we'd be like, oh, we've got a new song, let's put it in the set list. Whereas nowadays it's not really like that because, you know, your set list is now your new album. So then the new songs, you've not jammed them, you've just kind of demoed them. It's a different process, really. Right. If that makes sense.
Sure, it does. But when you have then that first song, and then do the rest of the songs then flow out a little bit easier because you have that kind of sense of where you want to go, where you...
Kind of, yeah. I can't really remember the order of what was written. I think Your Girlfriend came like that summer.
Right.
So, you know, it was like Swimming Brain, Your Girlfriend, Sunday Was a Friend of Mine. They were like kind of all around the same, well, they were the same year and same time. I was listening to a lot of Talking Heads, going into like Your Girlfriend especially.
Right.
Just finding new things to like listen to, innit? So it was like, my Swimming Brain was off the back of being in New York with my girlfriend around Christmas, well, in the new year, 2018. We're staying in the Lower East Side, and we went to, we basically looked who was on in the, you know...
in the span of time that you were there?
Yeah, and we found a band playing called Ceramic Animal. So they're not very well known, but, you know, they're really cool, and they had like a vibe, and they kind of then inspired me, and I listened to them for the rest of the holiday, then came home and wrote My Swimming Brain. You know what I mean? So it's kind of finding little sparks to kind of ignite.
But that's an interesting thought because you have, obviously you're musicians and you're very much focused on the band and writing songs and touring, and then like you say, the bigger you get, more stuff, but you're still music fans as well. So how do you kind of find time to explore those avenues? Is it just in the back of the bus? Or?
It's really difficult to like explore new music, I think, even though you're exposed to it all the time and it's really like readily available. It's difficult to kind of get out of the things you're comfortable listening to. Like specifically for me and Josh, we listen to a lot of like 70s music, and it's difficult to come out of that and try and find new music. So, but when you're on the road, the handy thing is with like Spotify, like you have Discover Weekly, don't you, and things like that, and you have Spotify Radio, which leads you into songs you might not have heard before, and that's a good thing.
Right.
And then we've got like people like James Skelly. I'm always texting him and he's always sending me stuff, and it doesn't necessarily have to be new music, it could be something I've never heard.
Yeah.
Like the Talking Heads thing, like, you know, they've been around for years but I'd never really listened to them, so that they felt like a new band to me. So, and then even like being in New York and just finding a band, like that's the old school way. But that can happen every once in a while, can't you? Know, who's playing tonight, and then you go down that, and that's what happened.
Because that whole thing of going to gigs as well, I'm sure when you were younger you went to loads of gigs, and now that's you're the one playing. So do you still get a chance to
We always try to, when we're home we all went and watched The Killers.
Okay.
And we're always, when we're home we're always going to gigs. And we watched Byrne in New York actually. Okay. That was amazing.
What was that show like? Because I've heard stories.
One of the best shows I've ever seen. Proper show. It was on Broadway, we watched it.
Oh wow.
So that was after the record was made.
It was like a theatre production and a gig at the same time, you know. So. And
then does it, like you say, then you get inspired. So are you thinking then about, okay, maybe we can do something in the live show? And
definitely, yeah. But I was watching it, just like putting notes on my phone, like do this and this point in the set and stuff. So you're always taking inspiration off everything, like whatever, anything that can be absorbed. And
then the two bands that were mentioned mainly in the bio were Talking Heads and Primal Scream. What in particular about kind of this type of music did connect with you at that point in time? Well,
it all stems, listening to a song that you fall in love with. So it was like Burning Down the House, and then I was like, well, I love this, and then I found Naive Melody, and was just, then you just started trailing through and you find yourself listening to it all the time. So then that started informing the songwriting. More on songs like, Your Girlfriend and If You Think This Is Real Life, them especially. And then once you write it, and then you kind of go off on your own tangent, and then songs like The Keeper come, which I think subconsciously is more of like the Primal Scream thing, just writing on the piano and their kind of groove and having the gospel kind of backing singing. That was the more the Primal Scream thing.
Right.
Once I kind of wrote The Keeper and showed the guys, I was like, I think we should get gospel singers to sing on the track. Which,
and that became a theme throughout the album, didn't it?
So that was kind of like, I wasn't necessarily listening to Talking Heads at the time, but I'd listened to it for years growing up, and it's always been there, you know, like moving on up. And that's kind of, when I started writing The Keeper, I was like, this reminds me of that kind of music. So then I thought, what can I take from that music, which is the gospel singing? So that's what happened.
And because you've had a certain level of success over the years, does that allow you to try more things like adding gospel singers, or then just try different things?
I think so, yeah, definitely.
I think when we demoed Your Girlfriend, because obviously there's a slide guitar on there and that's like the main hook, isn't it? I think that was like the first sign that we were doing something a little bit different, and it just worked, didn't it?
Yeah.
And then it ended up being really successful on the radio in the UK, like Radio 1 playlisted it and stuff like that, so.
Gave us the added confidence we needed, I think, because, you know, you're always a bit hesitant. You don't know, there's no rules, or you don't know what to do. You kind of got to go with your gut, and that was the main thing. And we were toying with, you know, should we release a different single, what should we do? And because Girlfriend was a bit weird and different, that made us want to do it more, and we were like, we should go with this, and that gave us the confidence then. Then came like The Keeper and the gospel singing. So they're the two main points, I think, breakthrough. Even though The Keeper was the last track demoed, we put the gospel singing on. Once we showed it James Skelly, he was like, well, we could make the backing singers a theme across the album then. Right. So then we got them to sing on Real Life and Oh No, Thinking We Look, you know, like more songs, and then it became a theme. So it's just little moments like that where it breaks through. And I think, like what you said in the question, you couldn't really do that on your first album because it's like, you know, it's too much too soon. Yeah. You kind of got to earn the right to get to that and evolve naturally. And
then do you need a sense of understanding, and I don't know if that's the right way of phrasing it, but a certain understanding, because you've went through that process a couple of times, you know what it entails to make an album. You kind of have a sense of on the first one, I can imagine everything feels like a big deal, and it probably is, but it's a different mindset than when you're on number 3, or you're kind of more used to what you're doing.
Yeah, you've got to find new ways of doing it, and then like probably subconsciously in the back of your mind, you know, the shows are getting bigger, so you can be like, well, we can get gospel singers on at the arena because it'll look amazing. It'll be it's you know, it's all kind of encapsulated into one, innit, I suppose.
Another thing, an attribute that's kind of like set this album aside from the other two is the percussion throughout. We've got James Skelly's brother, Ian Skelly, the drummer in the Coral. He's played a lot of the percussion on the tracks, which sounds great. And that's something we're going to incorporate into the live gigs as well. Live percussion, you know, congas, bongos, all that kind of stuff.
There'll be like 8 of us on stage, like playing the songs.
Yeah. Okay, so the live show is going to be expanded quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Because well, one thing that it was also mentioned in the Bible, a focus on groove. So when I don't imagine this is something you do consciously, but it just kind of pops out.
Groove.
Well, the kind of having a focus on, in this case, the percussion.
Well, I think I mean, like Charlie's always played, like the bass has always been a prominent part of the songs and been groovy. I don't write on the bass, but you know, songs like for example Talking Heads. If I've been listening to Talking Heads and some of the songs are kind of inspired by that, then that just opens the door even more to that kind of, like you said, it lends itself easily to the groove.
Like when Tom brought Your Girlfriend into the studio and we were going to demo it, he was like, this is this tune I've got. I was listening to Talking Heads at the time, maybe we should make it sound like that. And obviously I'm a big Talking Heads fan as well, and I just applied like a Tina Weymouth kind of style bass line to Your Girlfriend, and it just worked out. So that's usually the way it happens.
Yeah, it's everyone's own
You have this picture in your mind, don't you?
And then it's kind of a puzzle, and then see what works.
So then it was like the bass
trial and error.
So then you got the drums, bass, and the chords and the melody. And I was like, something needs to happen at the start, like a riff. So we're fucking about with the guitar. I was like, let's just get the slide guitar out, because we'd been given one by this company in Liverpool and we'd never used it. It was just sat in the corner. So we went, let's get it out. So then, you know, we sat there, waiting for the bass and the drums to do the start, and you know, it was in the chord of D, which is what the song is. So we just said, I was like, just slide it to the top. So we just did it, and then it sounded great. And then Josh had this little motif that he'd always played on the guitar. It's quite ABBA, you know, like da-na-na-na-na-na. It's quite like it's quite old school, which is something Josh would play. So, and he'd never be able to get it into a song because it was too like it was too kind of good in a way. But then for that song, it just fitted perfectly. So then, like you said, the puzzle, there are little moments where they're like the best moments in the studio where you know it sounds good, and then on top of that, you had the song with the lyrics, which was like weird and a bit different. Sure. We'd never done that before, and I'd like wasn't writing about myself. I just made a story up.
Because of sorry for interrupting.
I'm probably chatting on anyway.
No, that's completely fine. But I read that you went on message boards and that kind of stuff to kind of figure out how people talked about these subjects. Yeah, and
it's literally just like hand picking the lyrics from there. You know, a guy's like saying, "I'm in love with my friend's girlfriend," and he's saying, you know, me and my friend, we rent a place and she comes around to stay. So I was like, that's a good lyric. And then just started reading it, and then it kind of gets you spurred on, then you decide where you want to take the songs.
But I can imagine kind of scouring these web pages. Did you get a side of romance or a side of love that might be very strange? So.
Yeah, totally. So I read a few as well.
Did it change your perspective at all on kind of, because I don't know about you, but Tom, I think you're in a healthy relationship.
Yeah, totally.
So,
I was, but it's capitulated since.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So these songs are a little bit more applicable to you in a way.
Half, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's one that stands out in particular, "Falling for Someone." That's the one that kind of strikes a chord, pardon the pun, with me emotionally. But I would never fall in love with a friend's girlfriend, ever.
Right.
I think it's just not.
No, yeah.
None of us would.
It's a no-go.
No, but it doesn't surprise. There is people.
There's people that do it.
There's that many different people. Yeah.
People marry their. I mean, Eric Clapton and
George Harrison.
Smith,
I mean, yeah.
Those.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So when I was reading it didn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I knew there was these people out there, so I just needed to find them.
Oh, that's interesting. But let's talk about falling for someone then, because. Well, what I like about that is it's kind of that notion of falling under someone's spell and then not thinking straight almost, and kind of I think there's a lyric of kind of waking up out of this haze or whatever you want to call it. So why did that song in particular strike a chord with you?
I think it's the lyrics for one, and I've always been a fan, as well as my dad as well, of Tom middle eight. I can write a really good middle eight, and when that middle eight kicks in, especially when you're playing it live, I just think it really, you know, when a song just grabs you emotionally.
Sure.
Goes to the right place at the right time,
exactly,
doesn't it? Like the D.
Yeah. It's dead simple, but it's just really well worked.
Right.
A lot of the song, that's a good thing. You know, sometimes you've not wrote a song in a while, and you're like, you're trying different chords or whatever, and you know, nothing's happening. The best ones are always really simple. You know, they just fall out of nowhere. And, you know, it's just the hook of that song is just down, 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 do 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 do. And I wrote that literally the first. It's when I'd moved out of my mum's house. I was living with my partner, but we were having loads of work done on the house, so I didn't have a room, you know, to like write and vibe. So we focused on getting this room right. So we painted it, got it all done, decorated, and then I didn't have a stand or anything. And I took a Roland Juno 60 and I put it on the floor in the room. You know, plugged it in. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get a stand and all that. Literally sat down. This is no joke. This is not a lie. I sat down. I just went doom 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 doom. Literally the first thing I ever played on it, and I was like, well, if I was worried about, you know, it's a new house, it's a new room, you know, that kind of just give me the confidence to be like, well, this room's got something as well. Oh, it's obviously not the room, is it?
No, but you can create music, but I'm sure that's a mental thing. You have to kind of, because I hear that a lot. That even if you stay in the same place, I mean, I hear artists say very often that after the album, you always wonder, can we still do it? Can we recapture that magic of whatever it was on the previous album or whatever? And then you mentioning kind of trying to alleviate some of that pressure by having a bunch of songs. That's, I suppose, quite a healthy way to approach it.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, if the songs didn't come, I'd try and take some time and then go back to it or whatever. But touch wood, I've stayed like quite prolific, and the songs keep coming, and and it's not being complacent with it. You've got to kind of, as much as it's just natural and it's something I do, you've got to chase it as well. You've got to take time out to do it and like find the influences, be looking, like looking online, reading the boards and stuff. You can't wait, because sometimes you might not be feeling naturally inspired to be like, I'm going to write a song about something. You might just be feeling happy and quite content, but not really inspired to write anything. So you've got to, like your girlfriend, I didn't know I was going to wake up and write about that song. I was looking for it, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Another interesting thing is, Tom said before, songs can be hidden within instruments. Do you know what I mean? Like he's just mentioned the Juno.
Right.
Which guitar was it? Blown Rose you picked up?
Yeah,
James Skelly's acoustic guitar. Like you wrote Blown Rose. He said it was hidden within the guitar. Do you know what I mean? Right. Obviously it's not, but
I've heard loads of people say stuff like that. And like I bought a piano as well in the room. When we got this room finished at my new house, we bought a piano so I could write on. And I wrote The Keeper on it, and loads of the finished off If You Think This Is Real Life and stuff like that. So again, it's finding new little things which kind of sound different to kind of trick your brain into making the same chord you've heard a million times sound differently.
Right. But this goes back then, because I remember from the first time I spoke to you guys was we talked about ambition and kind of that you were and still are very ambitious. So is that kind of part of it, that you keep trying to figure out new ways to get better and finding new ways to challenge yourself? Yeah,
and I think you never it can be a curse as well as a blessing, but you're never satisfied in you're always finding, you always want it to be better. Like you can listen to the record now and be like, I want to make that better, but instead you just start writing new songs, and you're constantly chasing like the perfect song, aren't you, or the perfect bass line, the perfect groove. You're always striving for it, but you never quite get it. So if that's still within you, you'll always be wanting to do it, I suppose.
In your own mind, and this is kind of an unfair question, but have you gotten close?
What, for a perfect song?
Based on your own terms, in a way.
Blown Rose is pretty good. Okay. I'd say that was kind of up there with songs. I don't know, Keeper's good, but it's just personal. It's personal preference as well, isn't it? Like someone could go, Charlemagne's perfect song. It's not to me.
But you're kind of approximating what you had in your mind for it in a way. That's always how I see it. If you get as close as possible to what you had in your mind.
Blown Rose has got like the blueprints for a perfect pop song for me.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the song, or don't know how to explain. Like something you'd learn at school. It's really simple. It's got nice chord movements.
But it's tastefully done,
Yeah, and the lyrics are like kind of timeless in a way, with I don't know, just something about a song like that would be like maybe like a perfect pop song, but that's quite big-headed to say of your own song. But if I had to pick one, I would probably go with something like that, but I could probably pick holes in.
I think I Can't Stand This really well crafted as well. When you strip it back to the bare bones and it's just Tom and an acoustic, you can hear how good a song it is.
Final question then, Foolish Loving Spaces.
Yeah.
It's a line from Like Gravity.
Yeah.
And Like Gravity is kind of somewhat different from the rest of the songs, I suppose.
Yeah.
So what is the significance of that line and that song?
Well, it was actually, it came because I was reading something, I can't remember exactly what it was. I was reading what Morrisey was inspired by, again, chasing new influences.
Sure.
So I'd read where he'd got the devil may, what's the fucking line? The devil will find work for idle hands to do. Little lyrics that he said, and it's like people online have said it's from this book. He's got that from that book. So I bought the books and got them delivered to my house. So I started reading them, and one of them books, I can't remember which one it was. Some of Foolish Loving Spaces. I was like, well, something jumps out to you. So I was like, it looks good, it sounds good. It kind of encapsulates being in love, being out of love, you're foolish. And then I wanted to call, so then I then put that into my notes, which then becomes like a list of song titles then.
Right.
So I have loads of song titles, so when I sit down at the guitar or the piano, I'll start humming shit and then start trying to get the song titles in, Foolish Loving Space, and then it's like, right, I've got it in the song then. So then that song was, Like Gravity, was called Foolish Loving Spaces, because of the lyric and that. And then when it came to, the more I thought about it, the more I thought it's a better album title. And I didn't want to call the album title after a track. You know, like Cool Like You. There's a song called Cool Like You. I didn't want to do that on this album. I wanted the album title to be on its own. So then I literally just changed it round. So Like Gravity was another lyric. So I just read through the lyrics and said, what's the better song title? What's another song title? Called the song Like Gravity, and then moved Foolish Loving Spaces to the album title. And, you know, in hindsight, it works because, you know, a lot of the songs are being in love. Some are being out of love, you know, and some stories like Your Girlfriend, that's still touching upon it. And then that line, Foolish Loving Spaces, just kind of wrapped it all up, and it just works perfectly. So it wasn't overthought. I said to the lads, what do you think? Do you think it makes a good album? I do. They all said yeah. We just was like, that's it, move on. Because sometimes you can spend hours like, what about this, you know, or trying to...
looking for the perfect...
Yeah, looking for it, and then it doesn't work. It needs to jump out to you,
right.
Which is what happened with that. So then, you know, we had the album title. Originally, like I said, we were going to do 3 small albums. Did I say that before?
You might have in the previous...
Because we wrote like 25 songs, right. We were going to split it up and do Foolish as one album, Loving, then Spaces, and then, you know, could have done a box set with all 3. But then it quite quick, you know, we kind of decided against it and just wanted to do one album, so we just called the album that.
And then now it's one piece then, so what do you hope somebody who's kind of putting it on, listening to from back to front is going to take away from it?
I don't know, just, you know, it's always it's hard to say what you want people to take from, you know, music for me is always just, you know, you just want to escape from just other stuff in your life, don't you, and just kind of listen to that for a minute. But then it can soundtrack anything. It can soundtrack you getting ready before you go out. You know, a lot of them songs. I'd put Sunday Was a Friend of Mine on if I was going out.
The whole album can remind you of specific places you've been. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know for me personally, a certain album will remind me of a place I've been on holiday or something, because I'll just hammer it when I'm away. So hopefully, you know, someone will do that.
Yeah, create new memories for people, don't it, I suppose, and, you know, there'll be a load of people out there falling in love, falling out of love, in the foolish loving spaces, so to speak, so they can just, you know, it's in years to come when you kind of take stuff from it, innit? You think, like Charlie said, you hear a song, you're like, what the fuck does that remind, why does it remind me of Spain? And you're like, oh shit, yeah, we used to play it in the car or whatever.
Well, the final question then, because I can imagine you have that feeling that we have with if you're not a musician, like you said, that connection that you make with music in certain times and space and periods of your life, you have that as well. So do you, if we go through Cool Like You, our first record, do you have certain do meanings shift, or do meanings kind of pop out
of our own songs?
Yeah, if or is it more other people's songs still?
Yeah, more other people's songs. I think your songs, because you play them live so much, they just end up reminding you of playing live.
Right.
Yeah. Or recording it in the studio. The odd one, like, if I really want to cast myself, I can remember writing it. Like, when you talk about Blown Rose, I can remember when I wrote it, but when I hear it, you know, it just reminds me of my cousin in the video. You know, we shot a video for it that we never used, you know, so it reminds you of, like, doing crazy stuff like that. And then the more early songs, like when we were like the demos of the early songs, or like Blow, you know, it just takes me, I can smell the scaffolding yard, like that really takes you back. Right. So that's more so.
And the songs that you play live, you go through, like you choose favourites every, you know, they always change. Sure. Like, one tour it will be Between the Eyes is your favourite, the next tour it'll be, you know, I don't know, Blown Rose or something. That's a good thing to have, I think.
Yeah, I Can't Stand It was like a highlight. From Cool Like You, I Can't Stand It was great to play live. You know, it was just fun to play, it was quite fast and just like pumping. And then there's the reason why it went down so well live, like the crowd almost went more crazy to that than Charlemagne, which was mad, you know. Right. So
okay, very, very last question then, because you have on this record, what is your sense that which song people will like live?
Live?
Yeah. Because I'm not sure if you have tried them out yet.
No,
because the album. Oh yeah, you said you don't play them before.
No, we don't play them before.
So is there one that you think, oh, this might go over well live?
There's different types of live, isn't there? I think, you know, jumping up and down. I think, oh no, I think I'm in love. has the potential to do that, but whether it will or not.
I think Romance will be like a fan favourite eventually, because I just think it's got the makings of being that kind of song. You know, it's got that like noughties innocence about it.
Yeah, it's a bit Blown Rose, as well, isn't it? Like the jangly guitar. It's kind of the closest we've gone back to that since Blown Rose, which is cool. Falling for Someone has the makings to be like a big sing-along, like near the end of the set. You know, like Hey Jude or something like that. You know, where it's like you let the crowd keep singing that, oh, falling for someone, and you could repeat that. And, you know, so little moments like that. But these are all ideas in our head. We've not played it yet. It might not work. We might go and do it, and people go, fucking hell. Play Charlemagne, you twat.
Well, let's hope they'll listen.
Fingers
Gentlemen,
crossed.
thank you very much
Thank
for your
you.
time. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
All right, always a pleasure.
Nice one.